My name is Andreas. I went and was a part of a global exchange internship in Turkey. The city was called Eskişehir, and basically what my role was teaching English to children aged between 9 and 14. It was a summer program, and it was really focused on trying to make that next step from children sort of learning English in school and really trying to become conversational and trying to really have that sort of contact with native English speakers or people who are very fluent in the language. So I went abroad through AIESEC in the summer after my sophomore year. It was a very, very last minute thing. I think I had gone to the vice president of outgoing exchange, Michelle, and I was friends with her and I was a part of AIESEC. I think it was late May, it was after my finals even. And I was like, none of my internships had worked out, and I was like, I really want to go abroad this summer. So I went with her, I spoke to her. We set out a list of different countries that I wanted to go to. She really did a lot of work reaching out to these different entities and finding the right project for me. She sorted out housing for me. She made sure the internship and the government sort of principality that I was working with was a very good internship. It was a really good experience. She made sure there were people. She made sure there was someone there at the airport to pick me up, and she was very responsible for my time there and making sure that I had a good experience and also a safe experience by checking in on me regularly. I think one of the big benefits for going abroad through AIESEC for me was how cost effective it was compared to the other options at Cornell. I found that not only did it give me an experience that was not only incredibly worthwhile and fulfilling, but also it gave me a different perspective on travel as well. This whole idea that I was living in a country, Turkey, living with Turkish people, living in an apartment with people from lots of different countries, but really living the experience of a Turkish person and how they eat, how they live, working with Turkish people every day. And that was really, really rewarding. And it was really, I think the essence of AIESEC is if you go abroad through AIESEC, you're going as a traveler, not as a tourist, and you're really experiencing what it's like to live in that country. I've never experienced such sort of general kindness to strangers as I experienced in Turkey. The Turkish people are such a kind group of people. It was almost disturbing. It was I was so amazed. So many times when we asked for directions, they sort of walk 2 or 3 blocks out of their way to take you there. When you were lost in the bus system, they'd let you on for free. They literally, the bus would go out of their scheduled way to drop you off towards like a tourist site. It was really amazing. I think one of the biggest things for me was our first day teaching English in front of 39-year-olds. It was just me. I didn't speak Turkish and they didn't speak English. And it was very challenging. How am I going to teach these people English if I can't communicate with them verbally? But through this put up to this challenge, I found different ways how to communicate and to not only deliver sort of English sessions but also effective English sessions. And I don't see this is a very sort of unique experience that I think lots of other going abroad services can't provide that AIESEC really can. There were multiple parts that were really great. Working with the children was really rewarding, especially seeing them sort of develop and become more comfortable with us, sharing my cultural experiences of being here in the US and also my experiences from being Norwegian was really rewarding, and sort of having that exchange between the children, I think it was probably one of the best experiences. Also working with the different interns, the other interns from 35 different countries, seeing how they grew as well, because many of these interns, I'd say around 30 of them, they had never left their countries before as well, so Turkey was their first foreign country. That was really amazing. Traveling at the end, I was able to travel so many different places in Turkey. We spent 2 weeks traveling. It was really, really great. And also just the reception that we got. We were able to go out maybe every other night, whether go to a museum, go to watch the World Cup, go to bars, all these different things. And also around every weekend, we'd go traveling, right? And we'd go traveling with Turkish people, and they show us all the real Turkish things, and that was really great. Really experiencing the country. one of the craziest things, we were living in an apartment. At first it was me and Osama, the guy I was telling you about before from Egypt. And midway through, we had 2 more people join us. So we had Carrie from Hong Kong and Janice from Australia. And it was really funny. I think lots of things in the apartment were really quirky. We weren't really used to it as sort of Turkish style. But one of the things that we started realizing is that we heard this chirping sound in the kitchen. And we just didn't know what it was, and we looked through all the cabinets and we couldn't find it. But within the wall, there was actually a bird family living there, and we realized it maybe 3 weeks in. So I think one of the big things, it was my first night there, and this was the first time that I'd ever spent a good amount of time in like the population was predominantly Muslim. So I think it was maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, and I was there during Ramadan as well. But the call to prayer in the morning scared the shit out of me. So it was really funny. I had no idea what it was, and then I woke up, I'm like, holy shit, what is that call, right? And I walked out to the balcony, and I'm like, of course, it's a call to prayer. And like that was actually one of my favorite. It was I really enjoyed that every morning. And it was something that was really relaxing, and I think it was a really amazing experience, but also a culture shock. Yeah. I was interning in Eskişehir with 50 other interns from 35 different countries, and I was lucky enough during my entire time there to be a roommate with a good friend of mine. His name is Osama. He's from Egypt. He's a pharmacy major, coming to Turkey, it was the first time he had ever left his country. It was the first time he ever come on a plane, and it was very much we landed I think within an hour of each other, and we left within an hour of each other when it comes to the country and leaving. So we were very much in sync. We lived together. We went to the same schools because we were split into different schools. We were in the same groups together for school. We went traveling afterwards. After the project itself, we're all around Turkey. So many amazing places. But it was funny. Sitting down with him, it was a couple hours before we were about to leave. He was about to take a taxi, and I think I was leaving 4 or 5 hours later, and we were sitting in a cafe, and he was looking at me, and he sat down and he looked at me, he's like, I can't believe, and I'm like, can't believe what? And then he responds, I can't believe that I would have met someone here in Turkey who's from Norway, right? Who's from such a different background, has so many different experiences, is from a totally different culture, right? And yet we're so much in common, and we get along so well. And it was really sort of drove home this point to me that very much what AIESEC stands for. At the end of the day, we as humans, no matter where we come from, our differences are a lot smaller than our similarities, right? And if we can sort of realize these sort of things and work together instead of fight each other all the time, we can really sort of push lots of the ills of the society and of the world can really be solved if we sort of realize this. And I think that was the real sort of driving home point to me, is that I'm having this understanding that when you go abroad through AIESEC, you're not just going to a different country, you're going to a different country with so many other nationalities, right? So I think that was a huge driving point to me, this whole idea that, really going abroad through AIESEC, it's so much more than going abroad. It's going abroad and seeing 30 different countries and seeing 30 different perspectives. And I think it was really amazing. I began my journey going to a foreign land with 50 strangers from 35 different countries. And 2 months later, when I left, I had a second home. I had 50 great friends, and I realized that we're all from one world, and that's sort of what I really took away